Maria lived in a small town where life was not easy. She was a young woman with big dreams, but the world seemed to make those dreams hard to reach. Her family was poor, and every day was a struggle to find enough food to eat. Maria had always worked hard. She had jobs before, cleaning houses, helping in shops, and even selling small things on the street. But lately, things had become very difficult. The shop where she worked had closed, and there was no other job to find nearby. The money she had saved was almost gone. Her younger siblings depended on her. They had no one else. Each morning, Maria woke up early and walked through the streets with hope that today something good would happen. But the days passed, and she found no work. Sometimes she went to the market to look for small jobs, but no one needed help. Sometimes she sat on the steps outside her home, her stomach empty, thinking about what to do next. She felt tired and worried. How long could she keep going like this? One morning, Maria decided to try something different. She thought about the big houses she saw in the rich part of town, the mansions with shiny cars parked outside and gardens full of flowers. She knew the people who lived there had a lot of money. Maybe, she thought, they needed help cleaning or doing small chores. Maybe they would give her some work if she asked. Her heart beat fast as she walked toward the rich neighborhood. Streets there were clean and wide, and the houses looked like palaces. When Maria reached the biggest mansion, she stopped. It was tall and white, with big windows and many doors. The gates were high and made of metal. She took a deep breath and walked to the front gate. A guard was there. He looked at her with surprise. Maria felt nervous, but spoke clearly. "Excuse me, sir? Can I clean your mansion for a plate of food?" She said the word softly, but with hope. The guard looked confused. Usually people in that area wore nice clothes and did not ask for help. He frowned but said, "Wait here." Then he went inside the house to tell the owner. Maria waited outside, looking up at the big house. The sun was warm, but her hands were cold. She wondered if the owner would say yes or no. She felt shy, but proud that she had the courage to ask after. A few minutes, the guard came back and opened the gate. "Come inside," he said. Maria's heart jumped. She walked through the gate carefully, feeling like she had entered a different world. Inside the house was even more beautiful. There were paintings on the walls, expensive furniture, and shiny floors that reflected the light. Maria looked around quietly, trying not to stare too much. Then a man appeared. He was tall, wore a suit, and looked serious. This was James, the owner of the mansion. Maria felt small next to him, but she looked him in the eye and repeated, "I can clean your mansion. I don't need money, just a plate of food." James looked at her and froze for a moment. He was not used to people asking for help in this way. He had seen many people come and go, but no one had spoken to him like this. His eyes studied her face, tired but strong, scared but brave. He wondered why she was here and what made her ask such a simple but honest question. For a long moment, James said nothing. Maria waited, hoping he would say yes. She knew her offer was strange. Most people would turn her away, but she did not care. All she wanted was to feed her family and keep going. Finally, James spoke. "Why do you want to clean my house for food?" he asked, his voice soft. Maria smiled sadly. "'Cause I have no other choice," she said. "I want to work. I want to earn. I have no money to buy food today. If you let me clean, I promise I will do my best." James looked at her again. He thought about the many times he had been busy with his work, ignoring the world outside. His mansion. He thought about his own family and the meals he took for granted. For a moment, he felt a strange connection to this young woman who was so honest and humble. He nodded slowly. "Okay," he said. "You can clean. I will give you food too." Maria's face lit up with joy. She thanked him quietly and followed the guard inside the mansion. The first day was hard for Maria. She had never cleaned such a big house before. The floors were wide, the windows high, and the furniture heavy. But she worked carefully, moving from room to room, wiping dust, sweeping floors, and organizing things. Every now and then, James would come to check on her, watching silently. Maria did not mind. She was happy just to have a chance. At lunchtime, she sat in the kitchen and ate the food James gave her. It tasted like hope. As days passed, Maria came to the mansion every morning. She worked hard and learned quickly. She found that the house was not just beautiful, but full of stories, pictures of families, trophies of success, and books with lessons. James started to notice more than just her work. He noticed how she smiled even when tired, how she greeted the staff kindly, and how she kept the house warm with her presence. He began to respect her strength. One afternoon, James invited Maria to sit with him for a moment. They talked about her family, her dreams, and the difficulties she faced. Maria told him about her younger siblings, how she wanted to give them a better life. James listened and felt something change inside him. He realized that wealth meant nothing without kindness. That evening, James asked his assistant to help Maria find ways to learn more skills. He wanted to help her grow beyond cleaning the mansion. Maria felt grateful, but also proud. She had never thought someone like James would care. Months went by, and Maria's life slowly changed. The mansion that once felt like a strange, cold place became a home where she found new hope. James, the CEO millionaire, had frozen that day when he first saw her, but now he was moved to help her rise. Maria's story was just beginning. She knew the road ahead was still hard, but now, with a little kindness and a chance, she believed her dreams could come true. James, the CEO millionaire, was a man used to power and control. His days were full of meetings, phone calls, and decisions that affected thousands of people. His mansion was a reflection of his success, grand, spotless, and filled with valuable things. But when Maria appeared at his door asking to clean for just a plate of food, something inside him stopped. He froze, caught between surprise and curiosity. For years, James had lived in a world of wealth and privilege. He was surrounded by people who respected him for his money and position. But they rarely showed him the real world, the struggles that many people like Maria faced every day. Seeing Maria standing there with worn clothes but a proud heart made him pause and think. James had never met someone so honest and brave. She didn't ask for money or charity, I asked. To work, to clean. For food, it was simple and humble, but it was also powerful. It reminded James of a time long ago, before he became successful, when life was harder for him too in that moment. James saw beyond the shiny floors and expensive furniture. He saw a young woman fighting to survive, someone who deserved more than pity. She deserved a chance. He invited Maria inside. Damned. And as she cleaned the mansion, James watched quietly from a distance. He noticed how carefully she worked, how she treated every room with respect. He saw how she smiled even when tired and how she spoke kindly to the other staff. James began to visit the mansion more often. At first, it was just to check on the cleaning, but soon he found himself wanting to talk to Maria. She had stories that touched his heart, stories about her family, her dreams, and her courage. One afternoon, as the sun cast soft light through the big windows, James asked Maria to sit with him in the sitting room. He wanted to know more about her. Maria shared how she had lost her job and had no money to buy food. She told him about her younger siblings, how they depended on her, and how she wanted to give them a better life. She spoke with hope, but also with the quiet pain of struggle. James listened carefully. He had heard many stories before, but Maria's was different. It was real. It was raw. It made him think about his own life and how lucky he was. He realized that no amount of money could replace the kindness and human connection that Maria showed. From that day, James began to change. He felt a new sense of responsibility. He wanted to help Maria not just survive, but grow. He arranged for Maria to learn new skills. He connected her with training programs so she could improve her education and find better jobs. Maria worked hard in these classes, eager to learn everything she could. At the mansion, James also started to treat Maria differently. He spoke to her with respect, asked her opinion on small things, and encouraged her to share her ideas. Maria felt seen and valued, something she had rarely experienced before. The mansion which once felt like a place of distance and difference, became a place of connection. James and Maria came from very different worlds, but their friendship grew. They learned from each other.
Ow.
James learned humility and kindness. Maria learned confidence and hope. As weeks turned into months, Maria's life began to improve. She saved money from her work, supported her siblings, and dreamed bigger. James continued to support her quietly, proud of her progress. But their journey was not without challenges. Some people in James's circle did not understand why he spent time with Maria. They questioned his choices and doubted her. Maria felt the pressure too, knowing she had to prove herself every day. Despite this, Maria stayed strong. She remembered why she started to create a better life for her family. James stood by her side, offering encouragement and protection. One evening, James invited Maria to a company event. It was the first time she stepped into his world of business and luxury. At first, she felt out of place among the well-dressed guests and polished conversations. But James introduced her proudly, telling everyone about her hard work and determination. The guests listened, some surprised, some impressed. Maria realized that she was more than her past struggles. She was a person with potential and dreams. That night, as Maria looked around the room, she felt hope like never before. She knew the road ahead was still long, but with James's support and her own courage, she believed she could overcome any obstacle. James, too, felt changed. Meeting Maria had opened his eyes to a world he had ignored. He promised himself to use his success to help others like her, people with heart and strength. Waiting for a chance. The story of the CEO millionaire who froze when he first saw a young woman asking to clean his mansion for a plate of food was no longer about surprise. It was about friendship, hope, and the power of kindness to change lives. Maria's journey had only just begun, but with each step she proved that courage and determination could break through any wall. Maria's life began to change in small but powerful ways. The chance James gave her was more than just a job. It was a new beginning. Every morning she arrived at the mansion with a heart full of hope and a mind ready to learn. She cleaned the rooms, polished the floors, and made sure every corner of the house shone with care. But her work was no longer just about survival. It was about proving to herself and to the world that she was capable of more. James watched Maria closely. He saw how she took pride in her work and how she treated the mansion as if it belonged to her. But beyond her skills with cleaning, James noticed something even more important: Maria's spirit.
Ice.
She was kind to everyone, patient with the children of the staff, and always willing to help. One day, after finishing her tasks, Maria stayed behind in the living room, organizing books on the shelves. James walked in and saw her carefully placing each book in order. He smiled and said, "You have a good eye for detail." Maria looked up, a little surprised, but happy to hear the praise. "Thank you, sir," she said softly. "I want to do everything well, even if it's small." James nodded. "That attitude will take you far." Over the weeks, James arranged for Maria to attend a special training program. It was held at a nearby center where people learned skills like office work, communication, and basic computers. For Maria, this was a new world. She had never used a computer before, and the idea of sitting in a classroom was both exciting and scary. The first day, Maria felt nervous. She was older than most students and worried she might not keep up. But the teacher was kind and patient. Maria asked many questions and worked hard to understand. She practiced typing slowly but surely and learned how to use email and basic software. Outside the classroom, Maria thought about her siblings. She wanted to show them that even when life is hard, you should never stop trying, she remembered. The long nights when they had little to eat and the smiles they gave her when she brought home small treats. Those smiles gave her strength. Back at the mansion, James noticed the change in Maria. She seemed more confident and eager. He invited her to help with small office tasks in his company. Maria was careful and willing to learn. She helped organize files, answer phone calls, and send emails. Every day, she gained new skills. Their conversations grew deeper too. One afternoon, Maria shared a story from her childhood. She told James about her father, who had passed away when she was young, and how her mother worked multiple jobs to keep the family together. She spoke about the dreams she had once held to be a teacher. To help children learn and grow, James listened quietly, moved by her honesty. He realized how much strength Maria had, carrying her family's hopes on her shoulders. He thought about his own life and how sometimes he took his success for granted. One day, James invited Maria to a business meeting. It was a small group of his closest advisors. Maria felt nervous but excited. She dressed carefully in the clothes James had helped her buy, simple but neat. When she arrived, the men looked at her curiously. They did not expect a cleaning. Lady to sit in a meeting room, James introduced Maria to them. "This is Maria," he said proudly. "She has been working hard to learn new skills and help our company grow." Maria smiled and nodded. She listened carefully as they talked about business plans and goals. At one point, James asked her opinion on a project. Maria hesitated, but then shared her thoughts. The room grew quiet. Her simple but clear ideas impressed everyone. After the meeting, James pulled Maria aside. "You did well," he said. "Keep learning. You have a future here." Maria felt tears of joy. She knew this was only the beginning, but it meant everything to her. At home, Maria shared her stories with her siblings. She told them about the training, the meetings, and the new friends she was making. They cheered her on, proud of their big sister. Maria promised them she would never give up. But life was not always easy. Some days were harder than others. There were times when Maria felt tired, when the weight of her past and present felt heavy. Sometimes she worried about what others thought of her. She wondered if she truly belonged in James's world. One afternoon, as she cleaned a room, a staff member whispered, "Why does the boss spend so much time with her? She's just a cleaner." Maria heard the words but kept working. She knew that not everyone understood her journey. Some people judged without knowing. But she chose to focus on her goals and the kindness James showed. James, too, faced challenges. His friends and colleagues sometimes questioned why he supported Maria. Some said it was a waste of time or a distraction from his business. But James believed in something more, that success means nothing if it does not help others. He continued to support Maria quietly. He gave her opportunities, encouraged her dreams, and reminded her that she was capable of great things. One evening, James invited Maria to a company event. It was a large gathering with important people from different industries. Maria felt nervous walking into the ballroom filled with elegant guests and sparkling lights. She wore a simple dress, feeling out of place but determined. James introduced Maria to many people. He told them about her hard work and the journey she had made. Some guests were surprised, others impressed. Maria listened to conversations about business, leadership, and success. She realized that this world was not so different from hers. It was made of people with hopes and fears. Just like her, that night Maria talked with a woman who ran a charity for education. The woman was kind and interested in Maria's story. She invited Maria to speak at one of her events and share her journey with others. Maria felt a new sense of purpose. She wanted to help others like her, people who had dreams but needed a chance. Back at the mansion, James watched Maria with pride. The young woman who once stood at his gate asking for a plate of food was now walking with confidence and hope. He knew that kindness and opportunity had the power to change lives. Their friendship grew stronger. They learned from each other. James learned humility and the joy of giving, while Maria learned confidence and the power of hope. Together, they dreamed of a future where no one would have to ask for help, where everyone could find a chance to grow. Maria's story was no longer just about struggle. It was about courage, friendship, and the magic that happens when people believe in each other. Maria's life was slowly but surely changing. What once seemed impossible was now becoming her new reality. Every day she woke up with a sense of hope she hadn't felt in a long time. The mansion that had once felt like a world apart was now a place where she learned, grew, and found friendship. James, the CEO, had become more than just her employer. He was someone who believed in her, someone who saw her true potential. The days were busy. Maria balanced her cleaning duties with her studies and new responsibilities in James's company. She had learned to use computers, manage files, and communicate with confidence. Every skill she gained was a step toward a better future. And James was there, quietly supporting her, offering advice, and opening doors she had never imagined. But as Maria grew stronger, she also faced new challenges. Some people around the mansion did not welcome change. They whispered behind her back, questioning why James was so kind to someone from a different world. Some co-workers treated her with suspicion, or even jealousy. Maria felt the weight of their judgment. She refused to let it stop her. She remembered why she started this journey, to help her family, to create a life where they would never go hungry again. This purpose gave her courage when things got hard. She smiled at those who doubted her and kept working hard every day. James, too, faced pressure. His friends and business partners didn't always understand his new friendship with Maria. Some thought he was wasting time. Others thought he was being too soft. But James knew that true strength came from kindness and connection. He believed that success meant little if it did not lift others up. One afternoon, James and Maria sat together in the mansion's garden. The sun was warm and flowers bloomed all around. James looked at Maria with pride and said, "You have come so far. I'm proud of you." Maria smiled, feeling the truth in his words. "Thank you for believing in me," she said softly. "I never thought my life could change like this." James nodded. "Sometimes all it takes is one chance. One moment where someone sees you." Maria looked around at the beautiful garden and thought about her journey. From a young woman asking to clean a mansion for food to someone learning, growing, and dreaming big. She felt grateful, but also determined. There was so much more she wanted to achieve. Inspired by James's support, Maria started volunteering at a local community center. She shared her story with others who struggled, encouraging them to never give up. She helped organize classes for women to learn skills and find work. Her kindness and strength touched many hearts. At the same time, James began to use his influence to make bigger changes. He started programs in his company to hire and train people from underprivileged backgrounds. He worked with charities to support education and job training in the town. His friendship with Maria opened his eyes to a world he had never truly seen before. Together, they dreamed of a future where no one would have to ask for a plate of food, a future where kindness and opportunity would be for everyone. But the road was not always easy. Maria still faced moments of doubt and fear. Sometimes she worried about fitting into a world so different from where she came from. Family and longed for their safety and happiness. James understood these feelings. He often reminded her, "You belong here just as much as anyone else. Your past makes you strong." Their friendship grew deeper, built on trust and respect. James became a mentor, guiding Maria through challenges and celebrating her successes. Maria became a symbol of hope, proof that with courage and support, anyone can change their life. One special day, James surprised Maria. He invited her family to visit the mansion. It was the first time her siblings saw where she worked and the new life she was building. The mansion no longer seemed a place of distance, but a bridge connecting two worlds. Maria's siblings were amazed and proud. They hugged her tightly, sharing tears of joy and hope. Maria knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter for all of them. As the years passed, Maria's hard work and determination led her to new opportunities. She earned a position in James's company, working on projects that helped the community. She continued to study and grow, inspiring others with her story. James and Maria never forgot the day she asked, "Can I clean your mansion for a plate of food?" That moment was the spark that changed everything. Their story became a reminder that kindness can break down walls, that a single chance can open doors, and that friendship can change lives forever. Maria's journey was a powerful example of hope, courage, and the amazing things that happen when people believe in each other. Maria's journey, which had begun with a simple question for a plate of food, was now a powerful story of hope, change, and new beginnings. Life was no longer defined by struggle, but by the strength she found within herself and the kindness that others had shown her. Every day, she woke with a sense of purpose and a desire to help not just herself, but others who faced challenges like those she once knew. James watched Maria grow from a young woman uncertain of her future into a confident, skilled professional. He often thought about the moment he first saw her standing at his gate, asking to clean his mansion for food. That moment changed both their lives forever. He realized that sometimes, all it takes is a simple act of kindness and a chance to unlock someone's true potential. With James's support, Maria completed her education and earned a respected position in his company. She worked hard and never forgot where she came from. She made it her mission to help others in her community find opportunities and believe in themselves. Together, Maria and James started a foundation that offered training, food support, and job placement for people in need. They wanted to create a world where no one would have to ask for help out of desperation, where everyone had a chance to build a better life. The foundation grew quickly, helping hundreds of families. Maria became a role model, speaking at events and sharing her story of courage and hope. She inspired many people to keep fighting, to keep dreaming, even when the world seemed hard. Her siblings, who had once depended on her for food and care, now stood proudly beside her as they built their own futures. James, too, changed deeply. He realized that true success was not measured only by money or power, but by the positive impact one could have on others. His friendship with Maria opened his heart and broadened his view of the world. He became a champion for social causes, using his resources to support education and community growth. One day, Maria and James visited a school where children from poor families learned and played. Maria spoke to the children, telling them that no matter where they came from, they could achieve great things. James listened, proud of the young woman who had once asked him for a simple plate of food. They both knew that this was just the beginning of a much larger journey. As the years passed, Maria's story spread beyond their town. Newspapers and television stations shared her journey, showing how kindness and opportunity could transform lives. People everywhere were inspired by her courage and James's generosity. But Maria never forgot the early days, the hunger, the fear, and the moment she made that bold request. She kept a small photo of the mansion's gate on her desk, a reminder of how far she had come. She often thought about the power of a simple yes, the power of seeing the person behind the struggle. Maria's life was no longer about survival. It was about thriving and helping others to do the same. She believed deeply that everyone deserved a chance, and she worked every day to make that belief real. James and Maria's friendship remained strong, built on respect, trust, and a shared vision. They showed the world that sometimes the greatest changes come from the smallest moments: a question, a kind word, a helping hand. Their story ended not with an end, but with a promise that no one should be forgotten, and that with hope and kindness, anyone's life can be transformed. And so, the young woman who once asked, "Can I clean your mansion for a plate of food?" became a beacon of hope, a symbol of courage, and a living proof that dreams can come true. When people believe in each other,